and we have a CNN-News18 exclusive report on Chinese app fraud. Now, exclusive reportage on how, despite the ban, some of the apps are trying to steal personal data. CNN-News18 found that some of the suspected Chinese apps may have rebranded and relaunched illegally, storing data of Indians. Installing an app on your mobile phone is very simple, but are you aware that there are some apps that are storing your data without your permission? CNN News18's Akash Sharma with this eye-opening expose. Take a look.
Back in 2020, the Indian government banned more than 100 Chinese apps for national security reasons. But many of these applications are now back in the Indian market, but with different identities.
Definitely, there are almost 50 to 60% apps those were banned during that time. I think there were more than 150 applications those were banned. And each of these applications had a huge user base in India. These were dangerous to that extent that they can steal lots of personal, private information from our phones. But if you do a little deep dive, if you see that owners' details and that owners of their shareholding patterns, etc., you will identify easily that these are actually the same app. Their signature is same, but they are there on Play Store with different names.
CNN-News18 found that some of these suspected Chinese apps may have rebranded and relaunched, but they are up to their old tricks, illegally storing data of Indians. One such app is Tiki, which is allegedly owned by Bigo Technology, the same company which created apps like Leaky and Bigo Live.
So I did a little investigation on both these domains, ShareKaro and Tiki.video. Those are so claiming that they are owning these apps. On Tiki.video, if we see the domain history, server history, that where this domain was hosted and the IP addresses. So you could see it through this simple website, viewdns.info, where we just typed this domain and we found that this server was hosted in different IP addresses. And two of these IPs are from Hong Kong. And these are owned by a company called Bigo Technologies Private Limited. So it is clearly linked with some Chinese connection, Tico.video.
And this is not the only such dubious app. ShareKaro, Hello, Resso are all allegedly owned by Chinese firms and are operating once again in India. The companies market these apps under a false pretext of Make in India to get more eyeballs. These apps ask for access to data in your phone. Sometimes the data is required for functioning of the app. Access to your contacts, camera, messages are a big security concern. When we probed a bit more, we found that many of these apps don't have a proper website. They are using personal email IDs on marketplaces like Play Store. DNS history of these apps suggests a connection to China. We also reached out to these entities for their version, but only Tiki replied and denied any Chinese link. They said, and I quote, "Tiki has no association with China or any Chinese apps or companies. Our servers and user data are strictly based in India. In the past, when the issue of server location was highlighted in relation to Bigo, we changed our server service providers. We can confirm that Tiki exercised complete due diligence before engaging with our current providers. We are confident that this is in line with the existing compliances and the law of the land." While these apps are preying on unsuspecting Indians, the government is constantly battling these notorious entities by enacting stringent laws.
India currently has been banning these Chinese apps under the power of blocking under Section 69A of the Information Technology Act 2000. But while we pass blocking orders, we don't effectively enforce them. So they tend to block some websites, but the websites are very clever. Or the apps come in new avatars and still continuing to keep on harvesting the data of Indians.
The users now who have to take call whether or not to use Chinese mobile apps. These apps are not only dangerous for you individually, but are also a big threat for national security. With cameraperson Wahid Weg, this is Akash Sharma for CNN News 18.
So this was a CNN News 18 exclusive report on Chinese app fraud. And as you know that installing an app on your mobile phone is very simple, but are you aware that there are some apps that are storing your data without your permission? So we had this exclusive report by CNN News 18's Akash Sharma on the Chinese app fraud that is going on in India. Akash Sharma is joining us. Akash, can you tell our viewers how exactly do these apps mine data?
Right. So, Anjali, you see, first of all, there are two important things. First one is that initially these apps were put a ban on by Indian government, and the main reason of this ban was the security concern. And the second one is that these apps are now back in India. So these are two important things. Now, how they are stealing your data and how can they be a security threat? So, first of all, the use. You see, there are three important factors in the use. First one is that how these apps are getting installed in your phone. First one is you're going to a Play Store, you're going to App Store, and then you're installing this app. So in this case, in fact, in many of the apps case, it is not possible because they have put a ban on. But now they are promoting the other use of installing these apps. So, you can use a proxy method. You can use a proxy server in case the website is banned in India. You can use a proxy and then you can install the app. Or you can directly go to Google and find the .apk file, or you can find a remote method of installing it on iPhone. Till now, people used to think that Apple iPhone is the very secure phone, and you cannot actually install app without seeing its presence on the App Store. But actually, in these cases, in fact, on iPhone, you can remotely install an app. In fact, I tried it personally in my phone, and I was able to install one such app, which was not available on App Store. Now, while you are installing these apps on App Store and Play Store, you have certain guidelines, you have certain rules which these apps have to follow. However, on the other hand, when you are directly installing these apps using, .apk file or using remote method, then they have no such foundation. Even on Play Store, in fact, they are asking you for your contact details just to make your user experience better. They are asking you for the SMS data access, just to say that in case we'll be sending you an OTP, or in case we are sending you something, so seamlessly you can enter that particular data in the app. So they are asking you for certain conditions. And we have seen in the past that how these apps are first taking your permission, then are using this data. In fact, in many cases, even in India, these apps were found, blackmailing people. In fact, in loan apps case, how, just a few days back, in fact, CNN-News18 try to uncover that how these loan apps are in fact blackmailing users. So in this case, while we try to contact these apps, in fact the alleged China connection of these apps, so they clearly denied. And the reason is that they have moved their servers. They have, in many cases, they have moved their servers to Singapore. But still, while we are tracking their IP history, still while we are going through their domain mapping, so we are getting that in the past few months how their server presence was very much there in Beijing or some other city in China. As of now, while it is about government, so government is constantly trying its efforts to get Indian users away from these apps. But in actuality, we cannot control user behavior on internet, and that's the reason why we say that Play Store and App Store are not the only method by which these apps can be installed. Also,
Right.
actually, here I want to mention this very fact. That even when we say that one can get the access of my contacts and I have nothing to hide. These apps can not only take your contacts, but these apps can then contact your relatives and all others to blackmail you. So it is quite dangerous,
All right,
not only for
Akash.
individual security, but also for the national security as well.
Right, Akash. Thank you for giving us all those details.